So I don't have anything prepared to talk about today, but we just had Thanksgiving. I think it's really cool that we give one day of the year that we completely give ourselves to gratitude. Isn't that amazing? And what I just saw today was, this is what we do in this meeting. This was a gratitude meeting. We all thanked each other, appreciated each other. I really just want to speak to gratitude a little bit and talk about that. We talked about it before. Some of you might be bored with hearing it again, but some of you are new, and I think this is the most important thing in the world. Is there anyone in the room who doesn't want to be happy? Yeah, it's sort of obvious, right? We all want to be happy. And it's scientifically proven, because I'm a doctor, right? I wouldn't tell you any lies. So it's scientifically proven that practicing gratitude is the most important thing you can do to be happy. So why don't we do it more? It's a really interesting question. We're doing it here today. And I like to talk about neuroscience a lot because it's what I study, and some of you guys have heard this before many times, but we're biologically wired to have what we call a negativity bias. So some of you might know this. Actually, I do this for a living. I can walk through the office and I'm ignoring all the beautiful things, and I will see that one little tiny piece of paper on the floor, and that's where my eye goes. I go straight for the one thing that's wrong. Do you guys remember why we do that? We all do that, right? It's part of being human. It's a survival mechanism. Like when we used to have real dangers, we're always on the lookout for that one thing that's wrong. So it's programmed into our brain. So if you do that, don't worry, everybody else is too. It's normal, you're human. But we can start to rewire our brain so that we can start focusing more on things that are going to cause us happiness and less on things that are negative. You still want to be aware. You want to use what I call wise discrimination. If you're walking down the street at night, you want to keep your eyes open for something that might harm you. We're not suggesting that you put yourself in danger, but we're so programmed to focus on the negative that we really have to make an intention to be grateful. It doesn't happen naturally. So all of the things we did today were intentional practices to start rewiring our brain to practice gratitude. And many of you might have practices that you already do. A lot of people, it's really popular. Oprah does it. She has a gratitude journal she uses every night, right? These are things that are becoming very well known in our culture. So if you don't have a practice, it might be something that you want to try, like what we did today. I'm going to do a couple little experiments with you because I like science, right? Because we're scientists here, right? This is not like tree-hugging, silly hippie stuff. It's actually real. People have done studies where they image the brain and look at how the parts of our brain that affect our mood change when we change our thoughts, all right? So we can become happy by changing our thoughts. So here's a little experiment. And I know some of you don't like doing these, but we'll just play along. Okay, close your eyes. And just get settled where you are. And think about this word, trouble, stress, fear. Keep closing your eyes. Now think about these words, joy, laughter, peace. And now, keep your eyes closed. Put a little smile on your face. Just raise the corners of your lips and say in your mind, joy, laughter. Okay, open your eyes. Does anyone, you can tell me or not, or I can tell you my experience. Anyone want to say an experience that they had just thinking about words? What happens in your body? You guys are a shy crowd. So most people, and I'm guessing you are in this group because humans are both basically wired the same, even thinking about things that are negative creates a physical reaction in our body. When we think about words like fear, stress, worry, we produce adrenaline. It can cause a tightness in the chest, like a tightness in our body. Thinking about words like joy, laughter, happiness, especially by smiling, gives us a different sensation of peace, relaxation. That's just a 2-minute experiment that shows how your mind can affect your mood. So in a a very large way, happiness is a choice. Now, if that sounds difficult to you because you're suffering, through a very difficult external circumstance, pain, cancer, financial problems, that doesn't mean you can't still be happy. Now, happiness is not dependent on external circumstances. It comes from inside. So if your happiness is based on external circumstances, what's going to happen? It's probably not going to last, right? Because nothing external lasts. So gratitude practices are really, really helpful. Does anyone have a gratitude practice that they do at home? How does that work for you? You want to tell us? Yeah, because you raise your hand. This is interactive. Believe it or not, it's going to be. It's not yet, but it will be.
I meditate every morning with positive affirmations and different chants that help me stay positive and react to negativity graciously.
Beautiful. I love it. That's awesome. Yeah.
In my family, we try to have dinner every night together as a family just so that we connect. And I ask my kids every day, like, what was the best part of your day and what are you thankful for? And I think it's good to teach your kids that too.
Yeah, it's really, isn't it? That's a great practice. Anyone else want to volunteer?
I just try to find positivity and good in everyone, although it is hard sometimes.
It is.
But I just feel that it's some good in everyone, you know.
I agree.
And people may do things not out of spite or whatever, it's just because it could just be their personality or whatever, and or either how they were raised.
Yeah.
So I try to just overlook that and look at them. I try to look at everyone through the eyes of God, you know, because He has unconditional love, and I know everybody may not believe, but this is just my personal experience, you know.
Beautiful. Love it. Yeah.
Also, just, I know I talk to patients every day, so I take things personally. They can't see me, they don't really know me, but not really taking things personally, but putting myself, kind of what Tamika was saying, putting myself in their shoes, and that's worked best for me.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Does anyone else want to share a gratitude practice that they do? Some people do journaling. Everyone loves Oprah, right? So I mentioned her. She has a journal by the side of her bed, and every night before she goes to sleep, she writes down 3 things that she's grateful for. My husband and I actually have a practice that we do every night in bed before we go to sleep, where we go back and forth and mention a few things we're grateful for. It just completely changes the mood. And I can tell you, it does not matter what's going on in your external environment. You know, those of you who are new may not recognize this language, but we talk about being above and below the line. When we're below the line, in that space of thinking that everything's happening to me and I'm a victim of my circumstance, I can't be happy because I'm having financial trouble and my kid's sick and my father just died and my house just burnt down, or I can't be happy because all of these things happen to me. I'm not suggesting in any way that those things are not part of our life. So this isn't a practice of just saying everything's fine and having rainbows coming out of your head. It's not repressing that painful things do happen. It's just accepting all of it. It's all of it. So if you're feeling down, the best way to feel better, and if all those things were happening to you, what I would recommend in that situation would be to stop and find something that you're grateful for. So for me, if the external environment is just throwing all kinds of stuff at me that's not feeling pleasant, you really have to shift and just stop. Shift your mind into a place where you can look at things that you're grateful for. So Thanksgiving, right? So we're in Thanksgiving season, which is the day we're supposed to, consider being thankful. I don't know about you guys, but did you spend all day being thankful? I did not. Our family did the thing that most people's families do, where you go around and you say something you're thankful for, and mostly we hit the big things, like I'm thankful for my family and my food and my dog and the big stuff, and then we went about the normal family interactions that we have, and it's very difficult to concentrate on that, even for a few minutes. So I thought that was interesting. There's a lot of tiny things. So I was driving in today. There's just hundreds, millions, billions of miracles going on around us all the time. So we can go for the big things like family, friends' dogs. I'm really grateful for those things too. My beautiful job, all these wonderful faces in front of me. But if you can't find anything, you know, when you're in that place when just life just sucks, it's like I'm so freaking miserable, like I can't find anything to be happy about. There's something. Maybe it's the chair you're sitting on. I just started my head. I'm grateful for shampoo. I really am, and I'm grateful for my hair dryer. I mean, I just sort of went from top to bottom. I'm really grateful for zippers. How do they make these things? And then the lady that does the embroidery, like how do they do that? And this fabric that's stretchy, how do they make that? It's crazy. How do they make these clothes that make you look thin? Somebody came up with the scrub design and these shoes that have lasted 10 years. I mean, if you start thinking about the little miracles that are going on just in your own tiny environment, it's mind-blowing how this works. Have you thought about that? Or television, cell phones, this thing. It's really difficult not to be curious and overjoyed with life if you start being mindful about those little things going on around you. So that is my advice on how to be happy, proven by science. So if you want to be happy, develop a gratitude practice. If your life sucks, it's hard. We all struggle, we all suffer, we all go through times where the external environment is just throwing stuff at us that's just hard, right? Just stop for a second and recognize that there's 100 million things going around you that are little miracles. So we're going to do a little experiment, and I'm really grateful for everyone in this room listening to me. Thank you so much. Even though I didn't have anything planned, I just wanted to share that with you because that practice has changed my life. Some of you don't know me, like might be a new face to you. I'm Susan Hardwick-Smith, and I started this practice in 2002. Pam has been here since the beginning. Brandy has been here since the beginning. But most of you don't remember when we were just a little bitty office with one doctor and 4 employees. And that was in 2002, not that long ago. And then, you know, look at what we had. So it doesn't take me very long to find something to be grateful for. But I can tell you, if you think that my life was handed to me, you know, that I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, come talk to me. I did not. And, you know, just come talk to me. So it's not I got shit going on that you wouldn't believe. But I'm really happy. I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life. And I'm also in one of the most difficult times I've ever been in my life. And so that proved to me that if you're waiting for something in the world outside to change to make you happy, how's that working for you? It's not going to happen. You know, you've got to stop and do it inside. And I'm older than most of you, so I'm just telling you this is true. And some of the times in my life where things have been the easiest, like I've had money, I've had ease, everything's been going for me, I was miserable because I hadn't done the work on myself. So if you want to be happy, follow my advice. Don't listen to me, listen to Oprah. I didn't make this stuff up. So I have an idea. And I know you guys love doing these exercises. We're going to get into groups of 4. You don't have to do it right this second. However you want, easy way might be just to turn around to the table behind you. And we're just going to spend a couple of minutes thinking about some little things that you're grateful for. It might be something about the person in front of you, or just a little. I was just thinking, I love the smell of bread cooking. I love the feeling of walking on the beach with no shoes. I like when you lay down in the grass at night and look up at the stars. I mean, stuff like that, it could be anything, right? Just stuff that we don't always think about, like stuff that you love. Like what makes you, what turns you on? Like what makes you light up? And how do you know? So, I mean, sex is great, right? Oh, I'm going to add, speaking of sex, some of you know, some of you don't know, that I I did a big study, almost completed. I'm writing a book about sex and happiness, actually, and they're very closely linked, so that'll be really interesting. If you want your sex life to be better, gratitude practice helps, makes you happier. I can tell you more about that when this book gets completed. But 1,100 women, it's a big study. This is science. I wouldn't tell you any lies. I'm a doctor. All right, so think about stuff that, how do you know when you're happy? Okay, this is something that we don't always think about. How do you know when you're happy? What does it feel like? Like body awareness. Anyone have any sensations? Some people say light. Yeah. So light. So this is really cool because like every human being will come up with the same type of words: lightness, breathing easier, ease, openness. What's another one? Warmth. Yes, stress-free. So, yeah. Yeah, you eat more. Yeah, maybe because you're really mindful about what you're loving food, you're loving life, you're loving things, right? And what is being unhappy feel like? Tight, stressed. Can you feel it in your body?
Very heavy.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't done any body awareness work, one of the questions on your form was about doing some mindfulness work. This is the kind of stuff that we do in mindfulness classes. Some of us have meditation practices already, but really developing body awareness so that we know when we're happy and we know when we're anxious. And if our body's telling us this doesn't feel right, it's time to stop and move out of that situation. Do some type of practice, because if we listen to our body, we can change what we're doing. And it requires a quick pause and then just a shift to do something different. If we haven't developed any body awareness, a lot of us have our head kind of cut off from our body. When I was younger, I thought that the purpose of your head was just to carry your body around. Like everything just happened up here. I was trained as a scientist. I thought the only thing that mattered was your brain, and it's good at math and stuff like that. I had no concept of body awareness, but your body can tell you what's going on if you listen. So if you tune into what it feels like when you're happy, do more of that. Tune into what it feels like when you're stressed, do less of that. Right?